This is Pawprint, an animal rescue community, episode 23, and our first episode of Greyhound Week. I'm Harold Ree.
And I'm Nancy Ree. Today's guest is the talented Joan Chaplick and her amazing Greyhound, Shimmer.
Today's episode kicks off the first of 4 episodes dedicated to greyhounds. Joan Chaplick shares some heartwarming and, quite honestly, unbelievable stories that involve her and Shimmer. If you want to learn more about today's episode, including links to Golden State Greyhound adoption, along with a couple great photos of Shimmer, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/23. That's the number 23.
I work as a community planning consultant in Berkeley, and I live in San Francisco.
How long have you been living in the area?
I've been in San Francisco now for almost 25 years.
Where did you live before San Francisco?
Before San Francisco, I was an East Coast gal. So I moved out here from Philadelphia many years ago. I lived right downtown on a little side street about 2 blocks from City Hall. So I really lived in the city. And what I miss about Philadelphia is it's a really underrated city. It's very walkable. It has great food. They had food trucks well before, the food truck craze out here. And just a very homey, down-to-earth place to live.
Are you still a big Philadelphia sports fan or a cheesesteak fan?
Cheesesteaks will always have a place in my heart, but I'm definitely a West Coast sports fan. I'm firmly on the Warriors bandwagon.
When you eat a cheesesteak on the West Coast, do you just feel like it's not the same thing?
Well, they try and be like super healthy because the secret to a Philadelphia cheesesteak is Cheez Whiz. They'd be too embarrassed to serve it out here, but that's what makes it taste really good. I grew up in a household that did not have pets. Both my parents were very allergic to animals, and I, up until just a few years ago, was always allergic to animals. So they weren't something I would ever think about having in my life. I was not one who would, run and cuddle and play with people's cats or dogs because they always left me sneezing. And I found after living out on the West Coast for so many years that my allergies started to change. And so instead of being allergic to dogs and cats, I became more allergic to pollen. And so I started to see that I could be around dogs without having them make me sneeze. And that really opened up a world of possibilities for me that had never been open to me before.
So how many years ago did you start noticing the change in your allergies?
It was probably about 10 years ago. And, again, the allergy situation really started changing. Friends who had dogs, it didn't bother me to be around them as much. I had an East Coast friend who was a diehard cat person who rescued a dog. And she and I are both hikers and walkers. She would just tell me about all these wonderful walks that she went on with her dog and how much fun she was having, but also that she dropped about 10 pounds just getting a dog. And I was like, this could be a good thing.
Sure.
And so, it's kind of like once you start thinking about something, you start seeing things out in the world that pique your interest. And there was a columnist in the San Francisco Chronicle, Eileen Mitchell, who had a column about pet tales. And she wrote a column about adopting a broodmare. And a broodmare is a female greyhound that once their racing career is over, they end up being bred to raise greyhound racing puppies. And so these dogs are probably 8 or 9 years old, and they're tired. They've had a racing career, and all they've been doing is raising pups for multiple years. And through the Golden State Greyhound Rescue Group, Eileen had done an article about broodmares and said, consider getting a senior pet, and a broodmare has a great temperament, and greyhounds have a great temperament, and they're very low in allergens, and people who may be allergic to pets might not be sensitive to a greyhound. And in this article, she described all these wonderful qualities of these dogs and how friendly they were. And even though they're big dogs, they're very well suited for an apartment because in their racing career, they spend all their times in crates. So in contrast, the San Francisco apartment is a really big space for them. I filled out an application, and the Golden State Greyhound Group representative, Shelley, she came to my house. She brought her 2 dogs with her, and I didn't sneeze a bit. I had a wonderful time talking with her and her dogs, and I filled out my application, said, okay, I'm going to do this. So she told me what the timing was like, when I was likely to be able to get a dog. And one thing that is challenging for me is I'm a single person, and in my job, I travel quite a bit. So I really need to have a reliable dog walker and someone who can take care of my dog when I have to travel. I was asking a neighbor if they knew anyone, and he said, you probably want to talk to my partner, Kelly. He would be fantastic. So it turns out that Kelly, I think, was a dog in a previous life. He's fun and playful, and he loves animals, and he lives right down the hall. And so he and I worked out an arrangement where he would help walk my dog while I was at work and then help me when I was traveling. It all started to come together, and I was just waiting, and then my mom passed away.
Oh.
And it was the weekend that I was supposed to get my dog, and I had to call them, and I said, it was on a Thursday, and I called them and said, there's no way I can take a dog. My mother passed away, and I need to. And they're like, oh my God, absolutely. Call us when you're ready. And so I, went home for the funeral and started to work through the grieving process. And I called them and I said, well, I'm back. I want to get on the list again. And they said, we have some dogs coming in on November 22nd. And my mom had passed away on November 8th. And I just said, okay, I will be there. And my walker, Kelly, he came with me to the adoption so that I had someone to help me get my dog in the car. Now, I've never had a dog before. They bring up this special van with the crates, and they walk the animals out. And my dog, his name is Shimmer. They bring him down, and they say, whose dog is Shimmer? And I look, and Shimmer's the size of a small pony. He's a really tall dog. And luckily, I'm 6 feet tall, so we're in proportion.
All right.
But I see this dog, and I'm just like, oh, my God, what am I thinking? And it was just banished that thought. And from that moment, Shimmer and I became best buddies, and I made a promise to him that I would take care of him, and he would be my buddy, and I wouldn't just leave him sitting at home, that we would hang out together and be best friends, and he would always have good food, and that I would only let him be around people who love him. And I've kept that deal, and Shimmer's was a high-energy dog. And many greyhounds are couch potatoes, so they're very happy with the retired life, and they might enjoy, 1 or 2 short walks. But Shimmer was like electric. There was like a current running through him. And the advice I got from the Greyhound group was, a well-exercised dog is a happy dog. And so me being a walker, we'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we'd walk 3-4 miles before I went to work. And then I'd leave for work, and then Kelly comes in the afternoon, takes him for another walk. I would come home, take him a walk after dinner, another walk before he went to bed. And I swear that first year, I think I was walking like 5 to 7 miles a day. I dropped 15 pounds. I'm a vision of health and tranquility. Here my mom has passed away, and I would just talk to him about her while we walked. And Shimmer really kind of knows what's in my best interest. And, my mother was a churchgoer, and she had always hoped that I would return to church. And also too that I would be healthy and watch my weight, because she considered that a good sign of good health. And within about a month of having Shimmer, I had dropped like 10 or 12 pounds. And then right on the corner of my street is St. Aidan's Church, which is a dog-friendly church. And they have a special affinity for greyhounds.
A dog-friendly church with an affinity for greyhounds?
Yes. They have a long history. The father at the time, Father Tommy, had 2 whippets. And the previous pastor before him had greyhounds. So they've always had a long history there. And so I think Shimmer just thought this place was for him. And they had a Wednesday night mass, and I would take him for a walk. We would walk to the church. We would attend the Wednesday night mass, which was short. It was a weeknight mass, only about 30 minutes, and then continue our walk. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, look what this dog has gotten me to do in less than a month. Imagine other ways he's going to change my life. For anyone who's struggling with, if you're feeling unhappy or you want to lose weight or you can't sleep at night or you're a little bit depressed, get a greyhound, get a dog, and spend time with your dog. It's the best medicine for so many ailments in society today.
We're talking to Joan Chaplick, a resident of San Francisco, and her animal rescue, Shimmer. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about how many years you two have been together and how old Shimmer is right now?
Okay, well, greyhounds have a tattoo with their birth date in their ear. So you know your dog's birth date, and you can't forget it because it's there. So he will be 12 on April 2nd. So I've had him, we've been together for 8 years.
What makes Shimmer special?
Shimmer has a very intuitive sense about people. So if there's a group of people and there's someone who's maybe a little bit down in the dumps or needs some attention, Shimmer just kind of makes a beeline for them. He's a very caring and observant dog. And this just happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was out walking with Kelly, and it was, one of these rainy Friday days, real great day. And they were a little bit off schedule because Kelly was trying to take him out during a break in the rain. And Shimmer's very insistent about where he walks. So he sets the route, and we have great, interesting walks. So I let him lead the way. And he took Kelly on this rather circuitous route. And instead of going to the right and going down the hill, he went to the left. And he went up and over the hill, and then he crossed the street. And then he took Kelly around into the entranceway to a neighbor's house. There's an older woman who lives there, Evelyn. This is not a normal stop on the walk or an obvious place for him to go. And he pulls Kelly into the doorway, and Kelly can see that this woman has fallen and is in need of help.
Oh, my goodness.
Shimmer had just made a beeline into her doorway where she had fallen. And Kelly said that, Shimmer did a really good job of keeping her calm while they waited for the paramedics to come. And then Kelly dialed 911, and he gathered her medication and other things that, they said to bring to the hospital with her. And, we heard from other neighbors that she had fallen earlier that day. And it was such a gray and dark day that it could have been a while before someone else saw her.
Right.
He's our little neighborhood hero.
Oh, absolutely. Almost, when you talk about church and this kind of circuitous route, it's almost like supernatural or miraculous, right?
He is a dog of good moral character, and
there you go. Inspirational in so many ways. Wow, thank you for sharing that.
The one thing too is the Golden State Greyhound group is superb in the level of support that they provide. And so I got Shimmer, it was on a Saturday. On a Tuesday, I had a business trip. I get home at about 8 o'clock, come into the living room, and Kelly's sitting there going, "Your dog." And I see a big green garbage bag there. Well, as you know, because of greyhounds, they come with you have a crate for them because that's like their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And he told me that he had done the walk and everything else, but sometime around 3:30, 4 o'clock, Shimmer, I guess, got all anxious about being in the house by himself, and somehow he managed to kick his way out of the crate. Then he took a big poop in his brand new bed. Then he stepped in it and he walked all over the wall-to-wall carpeting. Needless to say, Kelly did an incredible job cleaning things up and saying, I don't know what we do about this. And I said, I don't know either. And I immediately picked up the phone. I called Shelley from the Greyhound group and said, please help me. What do I do? And she said, okay, we're going to help you correct that, and you and Kelly need to do things exactly the same way so that the rules are the same when you both take them out for a walk. And I had her on speed dial, and we did doggy training boot camp for 8 days, where every day we did something a little bit different, but I did exactly what she told me to do. And a lot of it was about, you need to establish yourself as the alpha. And but you don't have to be mean or yelly or anything. You just have to be clear and directive. Just certain things to do when I was walking him, being very consistent about the direction I used, and we were on a very clear schedule. And within about 7 or 8 days, he was just fully adjusted. I was the boss. He was happy, and we were ready to go. So yeah, I called Shelley probably twice a day for those 8 days, and I said, okay, I'm doing this, and it seems to be working. Should I keep doing it or do something different? And she said, well, keep doing that and add this. Yeah. And just incrementally, and she wanted me to succeed as a new dog guardian. So she was willing to give me any kind of support that I needed.
Why should people consider animal rescue in general or greyhound rescue in particular?
Let's see, animal rescue in general, because you are going to encounter an animal who really needs you. And you will find that animal who is kind of like your other half. And someone who needs you and really values and knows that you have saved them from harm or from a terrible life. Why I would encourage people to consider a greyhound, and I think the thing that is most important is that you understand the temperament of the dog that you are bringing into your life. And in my experience, after reading about greyhounds and learning about the type of exercise they like, their general temperament, many greyhounds are less energetic than Shimmer, and I was very happy to get a dog that likes to walk a lot, and that's a big part of how we spend our time. Greyhounds, they're not loud, they're not known for barking a lot, and they don't necessarily need a lot of space. And they're on-leash dogs, too. He's not running all over the place. Whenever we walk, he's on a leash. And because many of the greyhounds that you're able to adopt are racing dogs, they have been working with a trainer, so they learn very quickly. Shimmer was housebroken in a very short amount of time. It was like 1 day, and he didn't have any accidents after that.
Anything else that you'd like to share, whether it's about yourself, about Shimmer?
Shimmer has really opened my life to interacting with everyone on the street. Shimmer doesn't judge. And so it has made me rethink how I interact with people and the assumptions you make without even knowing anyone. And we say good morning to everyone, and we have great conversations with anyone who's willing to talk to us. And I've made many new friends that are, they're good, close friends. And then I have plenty of, like, my regular acquaintances out on the street that I'm able to talk to. And it's just given me such a richer life. And it all happened by taking a dog for a walk.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you one last question, which is, when you think of your mother, when you talk about your mother with Shimmer, what comes to mind?
How much she would like him, because she was very afraid of animals and very sensitive to them. And I don't know if she had a bad experience when she was a kid, but I think Shimmer would have had the same kind of corrective thing happen with her, where someone who may have had a negative experience and was fearful would see this dog as this kind, gentle, friendly soul that he is, and that there's nothing to be afraid of.
We want to say thank you to Joan Chaplick and Shimmer for sharing their stories. If you want to learn more about today's episode, along with some great dog photos, go to our show notes at thisispawprint.com/23. On our next episode of Greyhound Week, we feature Stu Homer, co-founder of Golden State Greyhound Adoption. If you want to find me or Nancy on social media, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Look for This Is Pawprint, one word. You can also look me up on Facebook, Harold Ree. I promise you that I'm potty trained and I don't need long walks. If you want to listen to more episodes of Pawprint, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher, along with Pocket Casts, which is an app on iPhone and Android phones. We want to say thank you to all of you for sharing your stories. And don't forget, 3 more episodes of Greyhound Week. You send a positive message of love and peace by saving an animal. Have a great day, everyone, and see you next time on Pawprint.
Pawprint is a production of EVER Education.
You can't handle the truth!
Woohoo!